There's two, there's no stress.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah, my ears held out like that.
I'm assuming you want that for the kids.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I'm blaming it on
I
the
give it
kids.
to one of the grandkids.
Yeah. Yeah, they're.
Otherwise, just have somebody,
You're gonna wanna take them.
you know,
Put, put some new straps on
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I got a gal that does a lot of sewing.
I would like to hit it with.
A nice looking
Yeah,
knife.
I know, we all did.
They weren't made in China, were they?
I don't know, I tore my tag off and.
I did too, I did look at it.
Well, it was in the way there, so I put it on, well, that tag's in the way, so we just ripped her off.
I saved it for washing instructions. I didn't look to see if it's washable.
We'll now call the meeting to order. We'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Do I have a motion to approve the agenda?
So move.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved.
I'll second.
Motion has been made and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. We will now have SCH with the smoke testing report.
Yep, go ahead.
Make sure it's turned on, Jeff.
Yeah, we might. Something wrong?
Oh, is it turned on? The mic? There should be a green light.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, good evening, Mayor and members of City Council. As you can tell, I'm not John Halter. My name is Jared Griffith. I'm here on his behalf tonight to update you on our results from the I&I sewer study that was performed this last spring. As you know, the city hired SCH to do the flow monitoring and sewer smoke testing investigations across portions of the town. And the city of Foley has two primary sanitary sewer districts feeding into the Broadway lift station as well as the Birch lift station. Based on flow data provided from each of these lift stations, the city requested that all investigations with efforts within this project be based only on the Broadway district. In March of this past year, 3 flow monitors were installed, and then 2 more were installed in June, and then all 5 of those were removed in October. During that time frame, there were it was a pretty dry summer, which is unfortunate. Obviously, the more rain events we get, the better data we can collect. But we were able to record 5 major rain events. And with that, in your packets, you should have that the memorandum. In there on sheet 3, there are some tables with results. I do want to note that results that we received does show that the I&I issue is improving. But there are definitely some areas where we can still improve on. I'd like to point out some key factors here. On table 3 and 4 in that memorandum, the wet and dry ratio column on the far right shows that the city's wastewater flow is on a daily basis roughly double during these major rain events, as well as in the I&I base flow column. In table 3, you can see that roughly 70% of the I&I flow is within that Broadway lift station district, and 30% would then be in the Birch lift station district. Further breaking that down, the Broadway lift station, in table 4, roughly 70% of that flow is located in D1 and D1-1 sub-districts. To show you where those districts are located, figure 1 is also attached in that memorandum. As far as the smoke testing results, we were able to identify 31 deficient areas, with majority of that being in the sanitary sewer castings and frame sections. I believe there was, 14 of the 31 were within that sanitary frame section. So next steps moving forward, along SEH, along with Mark, would like to develop a manhole repair plan to address those defects identified in the smoke testing that we did this past year, as well as evaluate the need for a comprehensive manhole inspection and televising the main line. Kind of make the plan for that for the public side of your sanitary sewer system, to hopefully identify and locate areas that we're not able to identify in that smoke testing. And that is all I have.
Does anyone have any questions for him?
How much do you think these numbers are skewed with COVID, school shut down, people at home, people not at home? You know, you're gonna have, yes, you're gonna have less probably at the school, but you're gonna have more people at home.
Right.
I mean, there's no way of really figuring that out, is there?
No, not really. I think the big thing was being a dry year, and not having that, the multiple data collections points. I think that was more of a indicator, would be a better indicator as far as if we did this again in the future.
Okay.
As far as the COVID.
Do we have a plan on private property issues?
It's my understanding that we have done a I&I on the private side in the past as far as identifying the in-home issues. With that, obviously there would be the laterals services from the home itself to the main line that haven't been, if there's any issues there that haven't been identified. I believe we established that plan to do the in-home inspections. It was with the understanding that those laterals would then be fixed during future projects whenever that occurs. But yeah, it does show that there are definitely still some issues with those laterals.
Mark, are these just in the watershed, but they're just in a centrally located area, or are they all in the watershed?
They're in that watershed, the Broadway, that's where they go to, but they're scattered amongst the whole area probably. One thing that maybe I've been dealing with John Halter more on is we're looking at maybe creating a map that's going to overlay. We have a whole bunch of exempt letters that staff deals with now when the house is sold. We can maybe go through those and get those addresses, overlay them on a map, the people who are non-compliant, see if it's indicating an area of town that is bad, trying to isolate these areas better. So
Right.
That's another option we're gonna minimally cost work with SEH on to do. Everyone will put all the data together and put a layer map together.
I'd like to see that.
And that'll be something for 2021. It's gonna take some staff time on this end to go through the exempt letters that we have here, so it won't be till over the winter or something.
Do we have any other questions? Anybody have any questions?
Well, I have one question. We don't have any cost estimate at this point, right? Or do we? For your recommendations?
I don't believe we do yet, Jared, according to John.
No, I haven't seen any, no.
Okay.
It's something we'll bring back to the council
Yeah.
next spring or whenever and tell you what we're thinking the next steps would be.
Okay.
Any other questions? Very good.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
And it appears there is no one here to talk for open forum. So we will move on to the department reports. Police Department, Katie McMillan.
Mr. Mayor, members of the council, you received the stat report for the month of November. We had 265 calls. Just some things to point out. Equipment violations were up, and that is your taillights out, headlights out type of incidences. Animal complaints were down, and parking tickets, winter parking enforcement started up, and we had 25 for the month of November. And that was after we posted reminders on social media. The last week in February, we put FYI flyers on people's cars, and then we gave warnings for the first week in November. So, we did 5 hours of TZD enforcement in the month of November. Other than that, application deadline was yesterday for the part-time eligibility list. We got 8 applications, and which is lower than what we usually have, but when talking with other departments, that is common. It's not out of the ordinary to be so low. I am looking at having those interviews in January just to get us past the holiday season and it being a little bit busier right now, that come January we can start fresh and get those, and hopefully by then COVID will be a little bit more settled with everything. Other than that, that is all I have, unless you have something for me.
Any questions for her? Okay, well, city engineer gave his report already, unless you've got something more to.
Mr. Mayor and City Council, hello again. I'd just like to provide a little update on the possible 2022 project, the east side lift station abandonment project. In your packet, you should have a figure labeled east side lift station abandonment, and then a corresponding estimate to go along with that project. With the 2022 Trunk Highway 23 project coming in 2022, we feel it'd be a good time for a project like this to improve our city's system here. A little information on the project: they would be removing that lift station at 11th Avenue, and along with that would be the force main from 11th Avenue all the way down to Penn Street. Then we would be installing getting rid of that force main and lift station, and having the gravity sewer run along the south side of Highway 23. As far as this project on the estimate side of things, the lift station abandonment we have estimated at a total cost of $248,949.45. And then the utility improvements portion of this project, which would be extending that gravity sewer over to Lord Avenue for a future expansion of the city's system, we have that estimated at $150,255. At this time, I'm just providing an update on what we have been planning. You're not looking for any motion at this time, but I just want to provide that update. I do want to let you know that if this is something the city would like to move forward with, we would like to be looking to start design at the beginning of the year in order to get our plan set into the state to put in their plan set for this project. Just wanna leave you with that.
Mark, where's the lift station on, where's it at now?
Be right here by St. Paul's Lutheran Church,
Yeah,
right there in the trees and the bush, right in front of the church. There should be a church there.
said that'd be abandoned.
We would have, that was put in 1996. That was put in 1996 when Dombrowski addition was put in, Eastview Meadows. And in talking, I thought so, and talking to the previous public works director, that was planned to be removed someday if it ever could be. We feel this is the time to do it because, we can cut the highway with the road construction project going on. You know, costs will be cheaper. It's 24 years old, we figure about.
Yeah.
So 24, 25 it's gonna be.
So
So, you
that'd
know,
be
and another,
eliminated altogether, right?
huh?
That lift station be eliminated altogether.
We'd eliminate the whole thing.
All right,
And it'd gravity back to
Yeah.
Mr. Jim's, 8th Avenue. And then like I say, we'd also bring a water and sewer across with it in case of any future development on that side. Maybe we can cut the highway.
So how much with that roundabout when it goes in, how, is it gonna creep in anywhere, or do we have any idea?
We have an overlay of that, Jack. I don't know if we have it available tonight. It's on the MnDOT stuff. It shows the manholes.
Is that gonna be an issue, or we gotta
No.
move?
We're probably gonna have a manhole in the road, which that's where we want them, really.
Okay.
You know, it'll be right on the edge of the roundabout, but it will not be out in the roundabout, it'd be at the beginning of the roundabout.
So like, out of Mr. Jim's, is that gonna just be a one-way then? With that roundabout installed there? Like you can only turn right out of Mr. Jim's north parking lot? Or will they be able?
On
you know what I mean?
23?
Yeah,
No, they're hoping to, do you wanna do that now or later, sir, on that?
Go ahead, yeah.
They're hoping to take 9th Avenue from the trailer park, bend it over to the west, bring Mr. Jim's driveway over to the east a little bit, cause they had them offset at first, and we figured that was gonna, so we had them, as one thing, our request, the city gave them, they brought them straight across from each other, so they used to be an intersection. And,
well, I just know when they do those roundabouts, you get cement and medians put in there, and then
Yep.
they're always, they're crooked.
they're
when
gonna
you
put
come
it way
into 'em.
over to Mr. Jim's east property line almost.
I'm gonna try to find the map I got. See if I can find one that'll show you.
now is this, we gonna be able to get by on just city property? We don't have to worry about,
We'd be MnDOT right away with all this. We'd have to get a permit from them for everything we do. And that's one reason SCH will need some additional time, cause there's MnDOT
Okay.
permitting.
I don't think it's gonna come through, Mark, it's a little, it's such a high resolution.
yeah, they'll still be offset a little bit.
It's coming slowly, I think.
But that doesn't have the bent
See,
9th
Gary, they'll
Avenue.
move the driveway
No,
over,
it's
so
the old
they'll
one.
pretty much line up.
Yeah, I think it's in my email, okay, cause we get so many different drawings every time, I don't think he sent me the latest.
See how they're offset there, 9th and Mr. Jim's? We said a
Yeah.
car
Yeah.
turning left into the trailer court and Mr. Jim's traffic. So they bent 9th Avenue over, brought Mr. Jim's over.
So they're gonna connect it like this, right, Mark?
No, it'd just barely be a bend there, not even
Yeah.
that far.
So that there's not.
So they're gonna be kind of pretty close for cross streets?
Yep. So the cars turning aren't, can have a center
Yeah, yeah.
suicide lane
yeah.
there.
Okay,
That's gonna be hard to turn out to the left with that center lane in there, with that left turn lane into the trailer park.
They're going into one now.
I'm saying, but you can get past the opening where when you tie those up together, I think that's gonna be an issue. Is it 2 lanes going out or 4?
Two with the center.
Okay.
Well, the center only stays till,
Well, then there'll be a median. The red's all medians, concrete median.
yeah. Actually, that is the older map, 'cause that has the full roundabout yet, so. We have
Okay.
newer ones, like I say, we get in the emails, but
they'll turn right on traffic, there's no merging lines?
that's correct both
Okay.
ways.
I'm just saying now where, I understand they're coming at speed now, but when you slow that traffic down, that's gonna confuse people when they wanna go to the left, is all I'm trying to say.
Out of Mr. Jim's,
yes.
but they'll be at lower speeds, won't they?
I agree with that. But that's also hammer lane too, when you get around there then. Where people try and judge that, it's gonna be.
We'll have a right to comment,
Should I-
and once we get a real copy of them, which you guys will obviously have a right to comment on the 60% plan, which is due pretty quick.
But that manhole will be somewhere down by that median on the
Oh, is that back there?
little round thing.
Is that it?
I don't see it on there.
We have there's.
It might be that circle there, yeah,
That's
right
what
by
I'm
the 50,
thinking,
right by
yeah.
the 50, there's a circle?
That's what I'm
That could be
thinking.
it there.
That could be, there's a.
That's about where it is.
So, yeah.
We will, yeah, like I said, we will get updated, they have to.
Is this the tax?
Yep.
Yep. We will have, they have to, the files are so big, they have to like FTP it to me. Otherwise, we usually just look at them in a live meeting, but, we will get copies of that. We usually get copies of all the final levels. And we can provide that and get that up here too when we have that, if that's helpful.
So that's just gonna be gravity flow, you don't see any issues with having to abandoning that lift station, there's not gonna be any of that pushing, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Yep.
I don't know if I caught that, but I'm assuming that the whole project, there's 400 and some thousand for the abandonment and the improvement?
Yep.
Okay.
This would be out of utility funds too, these
Okay.
costs, these would be charged to the enterprise utility funds.
Right.
Um,
On these walking paths, there's just gonna be one on the north side, or is there one on each side?
Each side, there's a
This one.
sidewalk and then there's a trail, yeah,
Okay.
and we'll have
Sidewalks on the south side?
sidewalks on the south, trails on the north.
Through the roundabout.
And it's gonna keep, yep, then you'll still just have the north trail that'll continue like it's on here. That will continue further, that actually goes past 13th and all the way to, I think around Herbst's property, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Charlie Scott's old
Okay.
place.
Now,
But
how
that's
far
just
out-
the north side.
How far out will that fiber optics go? Right to where we
Well,
end our,
So we will bring it to Foley,
yep,
it'll be on like by Highway 25, kinda where our sewer comes in.
yep,
And then there'll be a second phase that to bring it through and up like 23,
through the
all the
east side.
way, yep. And what we're hoping, and we actually are already planning for that, within our design to put the piping in so that can be done.
Okay.
Because it's real easy when you're ripping up a road to throw it in now. So that's gonna be though part of the county-wide project because they have needs to the east, outside of our city limits to service, so that's something that, county, school, we hope to have more
They'll
support.
be able to do that when they're doing this highway project.
That's the plan, like I think we already kinda threw it in, roughed the number in for this project, cause if we're gonna be laying a pipe, well, why don't we just lay the
That'll
conduit?
be kind of a separate entity from the west direction going to St. Cloud?
Yes, that'll be a separate phase.
Yeah.
So really our job for the sewer is just to get it here, and then it's another project to get it
Yeah.
through.
That, 2-inch PVC conduit on your estimate is for that fiber optic
Okay,
from the bottom.
So we put it in, cause we wanna make sure we're planning for it, and hopefully we get all the pieces put together for that.
it'll be a lot cheaper doing it now if they're.
Oh, yes,
you know,
yep.
That's a good idea to do it now, along with the sewer and everything. That way, if we ever do develop up Lord, like where Rob Brenny and Christensen, them live in that part there, we'll have the sewer right up to it.
Well, and the discussions we had at the staff level is now is the time. If they do request services, I mean, we have some houses over there that they have septics that may need, and then road, well, we're gonna do it all if we're gonna do it, so let's be prepared for that. And I think that the benefit of the, removing the lift station is just good long-term planning. I don't know, you never wanna have a lift station if you don't need it.
Right, less maintenance.
Yeah. We don't need any decisions, we just wanted you to take this information in.
Okay.
Is there any other questions on the other information, the email regarding the city costs? I don't need a firm answer right now, but if you have questions you'd like us to take back. I just got this information, a little after 4 today, and it lays out, and I do have a spreadsheet if you have a magnifying glass. It's summarized in the email though, but I wanna make sure that you understand, we had them rough, our cost estimates at this point, including the lighting, and we pay for some extra trail width, or sidewalk width, and we had them include that because our equipment can handle maintenance for those, cause we are responsible for maintenance on those items. So,
What is that sidewalk width?
10 foot on the north and I believe 8 foot on the south.
yeah,
And
sounds right.
it was only 6 foot and we're gonna have to pay the extra 2 feet. So if you happen to see the line item, extra 2 feet, that's,
Okay, I said.
6 feet's too hard to get a tractor on.
Walking trail, is that wider than 8 feet?
North side is 10 feet,
Yeah.
south
Oh,
side
10
is
feet?
8,
Okay.
I believe.
And I believe
Because we
there's
should-
an ADA accessibility, that's why that's driving the width on the north side.
Okay.
So if there's any questions you'd like us to take back, you just can kinda see where we're sitting at this point. Utility costs would be above and beyond, which we estimate about right now, about 400,000. Like I said, we have some time yet to finalize these, but we just kinda wanna know if we're comfortable moving forward, at least these estimates in at this point, if you have any other questions. Cause they're gonna keep bringing it down and finalizing it more and more as we get further along. And all these items, would be likely included within the big project. So it would all be bid together, from what I understand. And then we would just have our cost shares that we'd be responsible for. Is that what we changing? I thought that was what we decided.
We have to look at both ways on that, because there's no other pipe on this project, you know, sometimes it's cheaper to bring a private contractor in, but that's, whatever's cheaper for the city will do. We had hoped to put it on the MnDOT like we did in 2012, Lemon,
Mhm.
but there was other pipe there.
I want us to stick with just the standard lighting though, my opinion. Just my opinion, but I'd like to stay with just the standard lighting, not the decorative.
Any brackets or circuits?
No. No, that's my opinion.
On the other way. They already come down, they're down to 200,000. That's almost 100,000, discount already. Up there to be set up for the banners and whatever.
Can we get the pricing and bring it back?
We could bring it back and we could vote on it next meeting if that's what you,
That's what I said.
if there's anything else you want me to check.
Are you looking at any private people doing this? Private people bidding this?
This will all be part of the MnDOT, that part will be all, MnDOT project. So-
Okay. So they have other entities that do this, so. it
They
would
bid
be-
it out too, open bid,
Okay.
like we
I
do.
just didn't know if it'd be any advantage of us going out there looking for,
Very hard to work in MnDOT right, you know.
okay.
Yeah. Even though we're gonna own it when it's done.
Well, I'd like to see some final numbers put together.
Yeah, it took from the last meeting till today to get this, so we'll keep pecking away at it, and they're busy trying to they have to have a 60% in by January or something like that.
Well, and what we could, if we have more time to look at this and get some more we could lay it out for you a little easier. This spreadsheet I got is not the way to look at it because it's all into one. It's all project quantities and that's kinda hard to follow. So we can do that for next meeting.
Sure.
Anything else?
With options on the lighting, obviously.
I can't imagine there'd be a lot of lighting I mean, you're gonna have your standard streetlights around the roundabout, but how much more east or west would they put for lighting?
They had planned to put I don't remember the
Yep.
footage yet,
There was the plan to put the lighting and then to serve it as multi-purpose so that it could light a trail, a walkway. Part of the lighting came up out of the federal safety audit about urbanizing the area. We do get lighting complaints on the intersection, so that's definitely needed. But it was all part of the whole plan and to improve safety for pedestrians, vehicles, anybody along the corridor. We can check on what the footage is.
Does that lighting include like the walkway buttons and all that stuff, or that's all separate as well?
That's separate, the push buttons would be separate.
Okay.
But we did talk about how, like spacing on some things when you get further outskirts, like not in the.
Right.
So that's something we're still kind of discussing.
I don't know how much decorative you'd need around that roundabout, cause it just, there's so much going on all the time that you start putting banners and everything else on there, it just becomes, oh, and then you're not paying attention to what you're doing, which is driving. So see how many lights we're gonna actually put up there.
We can do that.
Anybody have anything else they wanna? Okay, that was you're done?
Yes.
We will move on to Public Works and Fire, Mark Pattenfoos.
Good evening. Obviously, we're loving the weather, but definitely enough to do yet. I don't have anything specific tonight, unless you guys have something for me, except the back truck. As you know, we've been looking for talking of a vac truck replacement for a couple years now. We were looking for a used, we kind of gave up on it, started leaning towards a new one, and a couple used ones have come up, and now this one that you have in your packet's going to hopefully come up. It's one of those 99% sure things. What we'd like permission to do is, there's basically two brands we're kind of looking at, Vector, Vacon, Chevy, Ford. What we like, the problem when a used truck comes up, we found this a few months back, is they're gone within 30 days. So by the time we say, yeah, we want to bring back to the council, trucks are long gone. This appears to be a nice truck, very nice, clean, everything we've got on it. We have not looked at it yet. What we'd like to do is permission to go look at it, get it into, if it gets traded to their shop, at that time, sign a purchase agreement, then bring it back to you for a final, approval of it. But we don't have the month in between on a truck like this to, these used trucks to sign, because there are not a lot out there. So could we be allowed to do that, please?
So we would need a motion to authorize staff, if the council is comfortable, to go and review that vehicle and sign a purchase agreement, knowing it would come back then to the council. But that would just at least allow them to kind of commit that truck, at least for the temporary basis, till they can get back here to approve it.
Are you buying it from the owner or from a business? I mean, like, I don't know how to say this.
We'd be going through a vendor.
Okay.
And we have
This sounds like a truck coming in, it's a trade-in?
it's a 99% sure. The city is supposed to sign in the next 30 days on it.
Okay.
And then at that time, it'd become available.
No, they're saying that they're doing a whole lot of work and repair before it goes out.
They bring it in their shop, go completely through it, go through it with the city then. Here's what it needs, here's what we cover, here's what you would have to, if we don't, this doesn't have to be done, but
I'm assuming they'll go through that with you?
Yep.
And
all that would be on the final thing that we bring back.
Okay. I think it's a heck of a deal compared to a new price.
I talked to somebody that knows a lot about, trucks, that's
And
operated them and
this
fixed
is
them.
budgeted for this.
Yes, it was in, 2020's budget of
Yeah.
360, so.
It seems like something we should look into.
Mhm.
It seems like a very good deal,
Yep.
depending on how it looks and stuff, but.
Right, it's city owned, not a rental,
Yep.
they're normally better kept, so.
I'll make the motion that, have Public Works move forward.
I'll second that.
Motion has been made and seconded. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Just like I say, keep in mind this, there's a very slight chance that the other city something could change, but I mean, they were supposed to, they thought this week signed the contract, so.
Positive thoughts.
Yep. And I say, I don't know if I have anything else specific unless somebody else has something for Public Works or the fire side tonight.
Anybody have anything else?
Oh, how's, new fire truck?
Good.
Good.
We finally got quiet. If you guys wanna stop out afterwards, you sure can go out there. We can't have any other type of open thing out there,
Mhm.
so, but no, our accidents are way down now and been on a few calls.
Okay, we'll move on to administration. Sarah Brunn.
Okay, we already covered the Highway 23, so just wanted to check with you if you had any questions or concerns with the 2021 meeting calendar. We will move forward with it unless we have any concerns, and if something changes or we have an issue come up, we'll adjust and do that accordingly. Also, my performance review, I provided you an evaluation sheet. I appreciate your comments, feedback. Make sure that you are getting everything you need from me to make your job as easy as possible. If you have any questions that you want to talk to me about, feel free to give me a call. If you have any concerns you want to address with the mayor, he can relay, we can, set something up. But let me know, and I do take those very seriously, so I do appreciate your feedback. Other thing, just a couple things. We're gonna do the water sewer ordinances next month, so that'll come, actually it'll just be sewer that we're making a change to. So you'll see that next month. Also, all the CARES reporting, I have finished all that and submitted that to the state. I'm really glad that that's over with, because that was quite a bear of a report to do every month. But we seem to get that all done. I also wanted to let you know, we had some additional funding that came available at the county. They were able to reallocate some additional funds to businesses, and also our city businesses that applied got some additional funds, because they had to utilize some funds that came available that was turned back from townships and so forth. So that was very good to see, especially the timing of this, because we had a number of establishments that then had to close down. And also too, the county did approve a number of nonprofit grants, and I do have the listing here that they approved on Monday if anybody is interested in that. Last thing I want to mention is, if you didn't see it already, the downtown art mural is done. It looks pretty neat, but so do check it out if you haven't had a chance yet. Any other questions for me?
No one has any questions? We will move on to old business, update on orderly annexation joint planning agreement.
I can take that one, Mr. Mayor. I am gonna attend the meeting tonight. I've been in conversations with the clerk. I think we're getting close to an agreement, but I'm gonna be at the meeting tonight to see what's the latest from the entire board. So I will report back to you. But it is on their agenda tonight. I know they've had some discussion, so let's hope for the best.
Okay, any new business? Okay, at this time at 6:08, we will recess the regular city council meeting to conduct a public hearing on the 2021 budget. Is there anyone present who wishes to speak for or against this matter? Is there anyone present who wishes to speak for or against this matter? Is there anyone present who wishes to speak for or against this matter?
If I could, yeah.
Sarah?
Just want to summarize where we were at. When we had our budget workshop, we talked about a number of different things. We do have some capital items planned for, we do have operating needs, but, overall, the budget, levy increase was fairly minimal this year. Council and staff decided that was probably the most appropriate way to go, considering what we're going through. So we're proposing a 1.05% levy increase, and that is actually less than our tax capacity increase, which is estimated at 4%. What that means is the new construction or new value that's being added to the city is bigger than the rate we're increasing taxes. We cannot control how everything is spread out in your individual valuations, but what that tells you is, as the big picture, we grew or had more value added than we raised taxes.
May I ask a question?
If you have a question, you gotta come up to the podium, state your name, address, and what your question is.
My name is Josh Coder, and I live at 220 2nd Avenue, across the street from the funeral home. And my question is just who does the evaluation of the value of the city growth? Is that something that the state does, county, city level?
That would be the county assessor.
Okay.
So we have assessors that go out, they look at your property. They have to look at it up close, like at least every 6 years. And the county assessor then determines the value, and they look at sales in the area. They look at, all sorts of different factors in determining that value. So it's actually a piece that's removed from the city. It's actually operated by the county.
Okay.
Thank you. Okay, now at 6:12, we will reconvene the regular city council meeting. Can I get a motion adopting resolution 2020-35, adopting the 2021 budget?
So moved.
I'll second.
Motion has been made and seconded. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Do we have to close the meeting for the discussion on? Okay, at 6:13, we will close the meeting so that we can have a discussion on the land purchase that we are looking at, the city is looking at.
If you'd like to stay, I can check when we're done.
6:32, we will reconvene the regular city council meeting.
Nobody's here, so.
Can I get a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second?
Motion's been made and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Meeting is done.